And we're back. So this video is a bit different because we're not looking at the cube, we're just looking at some online resources which have helped me in the past and will hopefully help you. So at this point, you need to learn cube notation. So this is something I've tried to avoid in the past videos because I don't think you have to know it early on. It's just more things to remember, but now you sort of can't avoid it. So cube notation is basically every single move that you can do on the cube has a particular name. So, and here they all are. You can use this website. I'm going to put links to all these websites in the description, so you can just reference them. Now, this is pretty good, just explains everything. This is the one I just sort of go to when I need to remember something. Each move, like, moving the right side up is R, moving the face is F, moving the bottom layer is D, and then you've got these ones, which is with the apostrophe, that means they call it prime, so D prime, L prime, which means move it the other way. So, for example, the face, move the face clockwise, it's F, anti-clockwise, F prime, and it just basically goes like that. Then you've got double layer turns where you turn, two at once. You got middle layer turns, which we use for that middle swap algorithm that we learned in another video. And cube rotations where you rotate the entire cube. So all these moves have a name. You need to remember the basics. But what can you use, once you know all that, what can you use it for? Well, the first thing you can do is use a timer like this, for example, to time yourself. And you can mix up the cube however you like usually, but if you want to make sure it's mixed up, well, I guess, you can use a website like this where it gives you the scramble at the top here. So here it says, R prime, U prime, B prime, U, R2, L, blah, blah, blah. You start with a fully solved cube. You do this. They've got white on top. And when you do all this, the cube will look like this. And then you basically press spacebar, or you can just hold the spacebar and let it go. Do your solve, press space, gives you your time, and it will actually calculate your average, your best, your worst, blah, 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 right? Now, there's a bunch of different apps and websites that do this timing thing for cubing and gives you a scramble. I particularly like this one because what I found is that I needed to know which part of the stages, like doing your cross, doing your bottom layer, doing your middle layer, doing your yellow face, and then doing the final solve. I needed to know which one was slowing me down and which one I needed to work on. So this one, if you click over here to breakdowns, you can actually add more steps. So you go more. So here we got 5 steps. So you start the timer. We're solving the cube. Okay, we've just done our cross. Press space. This will stop. This will keep going. Okay, now we've done the next layer, solving the yellow face, solving the final bit. Boom. So this is our total time, but then you can also break down, okay, what is taking the most time out of all those steps. So you can say, oh, okay, like I'm wasting a bunch of time on the cross, so I'm going to work on the cross. Work exclusively on making my cross faster, okay? And that will, drop your overall time. So that's quite useful. Okay, the other thing you can use this cube notation for is learning new algorithms. So a couple of new things we need to learn. One is, don't worry about all of this. We're just going to worry about this one, OLL. Now, OLL stands for orientation of the last layer, and it's basically solving your yellow face, okay? So here are all the different cases. There's like 50 something. There's all these different cases you can get with the yellow face, okay? Now we know how to do it with only a couple of algorithms, just repeating. But this is, if you need to solve it in one algorithm, this is where you go. And as you can see, there's multiple ways to do it. people have different preferences, and it depends on how it feels. So just try a couple, see how it feels. Now, I wouldn't recommend just going from one all the way through. There's a better way to do that, if in my opinion. But this is where you can find them all if you're looking for one. Now, the other one in here you want is PLL. Now, PLL means permutation of the last layer, and that is when you've got a yellow face and you've got the next step, which is, these colored ones around the edges, set up in a certain way, and these are some algorithms on how to do it. There's 20 something of these. Again, we've got away with, you can get pretty far with just 4, but as you go along, you can learn more. And again, don't start from the start. Well, they've all got names, by the way, these ones. The OLLs have nicknames, but the PLLs definitely have names. So, they've all got names, which you don't necessarily have to learn, but it's there for when you need to look up the algorithm. Again, don't start from A and just go through them one by one. It's better to group them and learn them in the order you're comfortable with. Now, once you just say you want to learn a particular PLL or OLL, then we've got these two websites which are incredible. It's called Best Site Ever, and it's true. This is where you've got all your OLL cases, right? So at this point, if you've watched the other videos, I said, hey, make sure you learn all your cross cases, right? And that's all these ones: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So just say you've learned all your cross cases, and because the problem is every time you solve the cube, you'll get a random one of these, and which is great. It feels good to solve the cube, but sometimes you just want to work on a very particular thing and get good at it. You don't have to worry about solving the whole cube every time. So what you do is you load up this website, you choose the ones you want to practice, for example, all 7 of these, or you can just do 2. If there's 2 which you're getting confused, especially if they're 2 similar ones, like for example, this one and this one. Okay, so this part is, the setup is almost the same. Except you got headlights here and you got them on the sides here. You're getting confused about which algorithm to do between these two, right? What you do is you select just those 2, you hit train. This will give you start with a fully solved cube. This will give you a scramble, okay, what it'll do, it'll scramble to one of those 2 cases. It won't fully scramble the cube. It'll just give you one of those 2 cases, okay? Then you go, so this is a really good website for basically practicing recognition. You need to see the case and you need to solve the case. So you do this, it gives you one of those 2 cases, you solve it, you press space, you do it. And it doesn't really matter, it's just, the time is just to, help you work out if you're improving or not. Then it'll give you this. Now, this could be the same one you just did, or it could be the other one, okay? Because there's multiple ways to mix up the cube, so you don't know which one the next one's going to be. We time it, boom, okay, it was the other one. So these are the nicknames for those 2 OLLs. And then now we got another one. And go, oh, it was this one again, okay? So this gives you each individual time, this gives you the average. So it's really great, and it's really good for not only practicing recognition, and just say, now I want to do all 6 of these. Let's go. And again, it'll just, and you've got all these options down here. You can increase the timer size, decrease the timer size. It's very customizable. So the other thing I think this is actually quite useful for is being able to group these. When you're trying to learn a new OLL, you can group them by recognition, right? So for example, all the cross cases. That way, one of the reasons why learning all the cross cases is great is because once you learn all the cross cases, once you get a cross case on the cube, it's like you know that you know how to do it. Okay, you're not wondering, oh, do I know this cross case or not? It's like you learn all the cross cases, and then whenever you get a cross case, you know how to do it. Another one, for example, is, these are all like here, right? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 line cases. Okay. So this is technically, yeah, this is a line case and this is a line case. Actually, this one's easier. So just say you want to learn these T cases, right? There's only 2 of them. So it's like, okay, so I can really knock this out in an afternoon. So today I'm just gonna learn how to do these 2 T cases, and then I know when I'm solving the cube, whenever I see a T, I know how to do it. Boom. This one, there's only 4, right? I call this walkie-talkie, but I mean people call it, whatever you want. It's just like this particular pattern, there's only 4 variations, and actually the solution to them is actually pretty easy. So you can just spend an afternoon and learn all of these, especially since 2 of them are mirrors, you know what I mean? Like this one and this one are just mirrors. So you can learn it on the right and then learn it on the left, and then there's 2 for the price of 1. And again, same with these. It's just 1 on the left, 1 on the right. They're pretty easy to learn. So that's how when you're deciding what to learn next, you can group them by that. Yeah. Now, the other one is the PLL trainer, which is actually exactly the same, except it's a little bit trickier to, because all the PLLs have specific names, like if you remember these ones, like for example, today I'm going to learn G and GB and GC and GD. That's these ones, GA, GB, GC, GD. So now, again, right, same deal. It gives you a scramble, you press space, you time it, gives you a new scramble. Okay. These ones, it's the same deal with the deciding on what to do next. I group them by recognition. For example, at the moment, you know how to solve any that have like a complete solid face on one side. Where is it? So this one, right? This has a complete solid face on one side. You can do a swap. Like we know how to do that at the moment. There's one that isn't in there, which will be in here somewhere. I can't remember which one it is. But basically, just say like, okay, I want to learn all the ones that have this bar here. Okay? So you just find all the ones and you learn them all. And that way, when you're solving the cube, when you get one that's just, you see the bar, your brain goes, I got it. I know how to do it. I just have to work out which case I have. And that's how you do that. And you can do other ones, the G ones are like that too, with all these G. They all have they all have 2 here and a headlight. Yeah, this one has 2 over here and a headlight. This one has 2 over here and a headlight. That's what they all have in common. So you can group them together and learn them all at the same time. And that way, that's how I do that. All right, so that is pretty much the main websites I use. You need cube notation, of course, to learn to use all of this. So it's a good idea to just start with cube notation and using this to mix up your cube. Good luck. After that, there's a million other resources online. There's YouTube videos galore. Every YouTuber has their own particular tricks and things that they like. They even have their own favorite algorithms that they use, and they'll usually publish those. You can find, your favorite YouTuber and find all their favorite algorithms. But everyone's different. Try ones you like. Discard what you don't like, and good luck. Bye-bye.